Welcome back to the Late Night Fact Check, hosted by yours truly, Irus Narik. Our main story tonight is about the rising dangers of living in New Calcutta. It all played out as the scientists had predicted at the turn of the 21st century, when their main doomsday scenario was their computers not working and a projection of a mere 3-degree rise in temperature. Well, they were right about one of those. As it turned out, the global climate crisis was a radical moment in our history when people realized that this climate crisis was not to be dumped on their children, but was already at their doorsteps. We have footage from 2032 when the poorly funded Sundarban tidal dam project finally broke loose amidst the steadily rising sea level. However, the then BCP government of West Bengal didn't pay heed. Instead, they thought it as an opportunity to turn Kolkata and its neighboring regions into a premier holiday destination. Because by then, the sea level had already risen by 2 meters and the large beaches of Digha had already been engulfed by the sea. Till 2045, Kolkata, or as it had been renamed Neo Kolkata, had become one of the most booming hotspots of tourism in the entirety of India, with the new adventure sports being founded thanks to the myriad of weather conditions that arose in the region. The most famous and dangerous of them all was aptly named the Tufani Chaser, where tourists would hop on to a weather balloon and ride the seasonal typhoons along the coast of Neo Kolkata. Well, and for a while it was all rain and thunderstorms for the residents of NK. However, the coalition government of Google Amazon of 2055 sought to stop the gradual rise of the sea level and tried to restart the Sundarban tidal dam project, now to be formed just outside the edges of NK. However, when the merger between Google and Amazon failed to last beyond 2056, that project fell through and half-done dams were engulfed by the seas when the sea level rose 3 more meters. Then, all hell broke loose when the Tagore family bought all the still unsubmerged land above the Howrah Dam in 2060 and enclosed it for their private use and evicted everyone who did not have membership for the Tagore Renaissance program. The 88 million residents of New Kolkata were left to fend for themselves in the newly habitated Bhagdi Islands. These weren't really islands, but the tops of the mega skyscrapers that had once dotted the lands in the 2030s. These rooftop islands now hold the largest settlement of Bengalis, now a diaspora in their own lands. With time, the Bhagdi Islands were interconnected and a floating city emerged above the submerged carcass of New Kolkata, which was named Neo Calcutta. For the next 30 years, the city thrived on a blend of adventure tourism and maritime trade with the Middle Kingdom. However, the original foundations of Neo Calcutta, the 100-storied buildings that formed the pillars for Bhagdi Islands, slowly but surely rusted away. And nowadays, when you hear that awful metal on metal sound as another part of the city collapses under the waters, you can count on your lucky stars that you weren't on that bridge. You weren't on that house or that cafe that is never to be seen again. Since the start of the 22nd century, there has been petitions to strengthen the foundations and or to be let into the Tagore family reserve. On 19 July 2102, the Tagore family agreed to lease 10% of their land for resettlement purposes. These lands are highly sought after and have been the building blocks of the Neo Calcutta Revival project, which is to be completed by 2119, which aims to build a stable interconnected landmass between the Tagore leased territory and the erstwhile Bhagdi Islands. Here's what you can do to have a chance to claim part of the resettled lands for your own. Firstly, we have a raffle for a spot on the Imperial Island Resettlement region. Follow the instructions on our meta site to claim your tickets for the raffle. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our handles or your entry will get voided. As for the rest of you, fret not. We have a BL program sponsored by the Tagore Charitable Trust, where you can work on a part of the resettled lands for a chance to stay at the Nil Garden building area. Terms and conditions apply. Signing off for tonight, this is Late Night Fact Check with your host, Irus Narik.